It was a good win. Tough environment. Give the fans here in Utah a lot of credit. This building has been loud and boisterous ever since I've been in the league, and it's no different tonight. They tried like the Dickens to help their team get a win, and I give credit to our guys. One of the many things that Steve talked about to me before the game in terms of passing a message on to our guys is he said that he felt Utah was going to come out, and they were going to hit us in the mouth early. The crowd was going to be behind them. They were going to feel that energy. And then with a little bit of desperation because they're down 0-2, that could get them over the hump if we relax and we allow them to hit us first. So he said the biggest thing was to relay to our guys that we just needed to sustain. We needed to, at worst, sustain their initial hit and then figure it out as the game went along. And I told that to our guys, and I thought that's what happened. We came out. We actually hit them first, which is one of the things that he talked about. The crowd stayed with it. They stayed with it. And then from there, it was an up-and-down game the rest of the time. Give our guys credit because they stayed poised. They could have caved at any time, especially in the third when Utah went on a run. But they just stayed with it. There was no panic involved or anything like that, especially during timeouts in the huddle. I tell you, to have 0 turnovers in the second half, it's amazing. That shows how much our guys were locked into this game. We always talk about, and Steve's preached it from day one, that offensively, we want to keep the game simple. We have enough scoring power out on the floor. If we keep the game simple, we'll be able to score and outscore most teams. 7 turnovers for the game. Again, this is, I think, the second time in this series. It's a franchise record low. It was amazing. But to see a couple of guys, I just want to talk about a couple of guys on the team, but to see JaVale come in the game and have an impact like he did, especially late in the fourth quarter, was huge. I thought he was big for us the whole night. And then, KD, you give Utah credit. They were physical with us tonight. They were bumping us on our cuts, holding a little bit, not allowing us to get free, in transition. And KD had a big night offensively. That's one of the reasons why we welcomed him here. It's tough to hold a guy that's 7 feet. It's tough to try to control a guy that's 7 feet that can play out on the perimeter and handle the ball, especially when he's as good as he is in the pick and roll game. So great effort all the way around by everybody.
Yeah, Mike Tim Calcon, Mercury News. Durant got a couple shots in early. Definitely looked emotional throughout this game. Did you sense at some point, or even maybe before the game, that this might be a big game for him, that he was into it mentally, that he was into it physically?
We felt that all our guys were locked in. We had a pretty good last couple of days. Our guys were saying the right thing and so on and so forth. Not just KD, but I'm talking to the team in general. And then when he started getting going early, I just felt that it could be a big night for him, and it was.
Marcus Thompson, Barry News Group. Coach, it looked for moments there like, you guys were agitated, with the refs, the crowd. Was it good for them to feel that and kind of fight through it? No doubt, and that's what I said earlier. Our poise was tremendous because there were a couple of times we could have fell off the wagon, but our guys, they reeled it in. They stayed composed, and they figured out how to get the job done.
Mike, Ann Killian with the San Francisco Chronicle. I wanted to ask you about both the technicals. With the Draymond one, could you see that kind of coming, and were you trying to stop it? Because I think they called it when he was finally got back on the bench. And then what was your take on the flagrant with Kevin?
Yeah, I didn't visually see it coming with Draymond. I knew he was at the end of the bench. And, Draymond has a loud voice. And I didn't even hear him yell anything. That's why I was surprised when Benny called a technical, because normally I would hear Draymond. And I didn't hear anything. And so I was just a little surprised that it did happen because he was at the end of the bench. But, Draymond composed himself, and he came out and played a tremendous rest of the game for us. And then, KD, I didn't see it, but Katie said Gobert shot an elbow at him. And, if he did, that's a dangerous play for anybody to receive an elbow from somebody like that, and Katie's going to stand up for himself, and it's basically what he did.
John Kuhn, Sports Exchange. Steph had kind of a tough night shooting. At one point, he missed like 9 or 10 shots in a row, but then he came up with a couple of huge baskets for you guys late. What can you say about what his approach was offensively, that he was able to kind of work through that skid and find its rhythm late?
That's the luxury of having, guys out on the floor that can score for you. And, Clay had a tough night too, but, with KD having it going, he kind of offensively made big shots and carried us throughout the course of the game. And a guy like Steph, you don't worry much about it because sooner or later he's going to hit one. And then when he does hit one, you just kind of go, uh-oh. And I'm sure the other team goes, uh-oh. And next thing you know, that one turns into 3 out of 4 or 5 in a row. So we knew at some point he was gonna get himself going, and he did. So it didn't surprise me when he started making baskets. We just wanted him to stay with it the entire night, and he did.
Mike, looked like you were repeatedly going Durant on the screen roll.
Yeah.
I don't know if attacking is the right word, but getting him on Gobert. What is the thinking there? Obviously, Gobert is an incredible defensive player. Is it also to get him involved on having to guard one guy and see what happens from there?
Yeah, Gobert's 7 feet, and when we sprint somebody into a ball screen, especially with KD, that creates a little bit of separation. Gobert, he's doing what he's supposed to do. He wants to protect the paint, so he's down the floor quite a bit. And when we play pick and roll with KD, if whoever Gobert's guarding sets a solid screen, KD's going to come off wide open. And KD can shoot from 25 feet, 20 feet, 17 feet, or get to the rim. It doesn't matter. So that puts Gobert in a predicament. He's got a 7-footer coming at him, going downhill. And most 7-footers defensively, their instinct is to start retreating. So he retreated, and KD just pulled up for the little jump shot. And I mean, it's for us, it's simplistic, basic backyard basketball. You find where you think you have an advantage, and we felt we had that in the pick and roll situation, moving Gobert away from the hoop, and KD, we set a good screen, and KD made shots.
Hey, Mike, right in front. Phil Barber, Santa Rosa Press Democrat. When Draymond's kind of creeping to that line with his passion of perhaps going over it, a lot of times this year you've been a guy who's been able to talk to him and kind of reel him back in. I assume that's harder for you to do as the head coach. Does it fall to certain other people on the team to try to talk to him at that time, or is it just kind of up to Draymond to reel himself in?
Draymond's a smart individual. He knows what he's doing. He's been fantastic for us throughout the course of the year and so far in the playoffs. And I've said this before, and one thing I know I don't want to do, I don't want to temper that emotion that he has. I want him to play with the emotion and passion that he's been playing with, because not only does it get him going, it gets our whole team going. And I do feel he's smart enough to handle a situation even when things get a little fiery out there. And then we have a lot of veterans, David West, Andre. We got some good veterans that can help out in that area, plus the coaching staff. We got all these guys been together a long time, so it's not a concern.
Great, thank you. We've got a couple of
Thank you.
players coming in, a couple of notes for the 7 turnovers.